Namaskar, welcome to Late Edition. Tonight we'll discuss about early warning systems for earthquakes. We all know that predicting an earthquake is, we still haven't found the science to do so, but at least we are able to understand that an early warning system is designed and can be designed and can give us enough time to at least save our lives. Well, one such system based on the difference between the primary wave and the secondary wave produced by an earthquake, one is vertical wave and the other is horizontal wave, can give us people living about 40 kilometers away about 8 seconds or more to at least save ourselves and other things. The Uttarakhand disaster is not only one of the worst in recent times, but is also an eye-opener for the need of a sound disaster alert system in the country. If floods are a giant killer, then the crisis with earthquakes are even greater. Around 7 million people have lost their lives in earthquakes in the last 500 years. Seismologists record around 20,000 tremors annually. India is highly vulnerable to earthquakes, and about 60% of its area could face moderate to severe earthquakes. The period between alarm and actual earthquake is usually no more than a few seconds. It depends on the distance of the device and the epicenter of the quake.
भयानक अर्थक्वेक जो है हमने फेस किया है, तो इसके लिए जो वार्निंग, ऐसे तो वार्निंग संभव नहीं है, लेकिन तकनीकी रूप से जो है
The primary waves always reach the system first and secondary waves follow thereafter. The period between the arrival of the primary and secondary waves is the time available for an early warning system. The system makes calculations about the time before the destructive S wave arrives. At present, the warning period is hardly a few seconds, but research has shown that it can still make a lot of difference in reducing the number of casualties. Unlike other weather systems, predicting earthquakes is always difficult. Hopefully, with such an early warning system, the damage could be less. Bureau Report, DD News. And the person who has designed that particular system is with us here. We have Jürgen Schiebelak, who has designed that system, a German inventor. And we also have with us Mr. Chandan Ghosh from the National Institute of Disaster Management. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll start with you, Mr. Jürgen. First of all, tell us how much time can we have between the wave and the S wave?
First, I must say the people have nothing time at the moment, and we don't talk about hours, we talk only seconds. But what you tell, 40 kilometers away, 8 seconds and more. And the most time we give alarm in Chile, 2010, in the German school, 30 seconds was the warning time. And this was a lot of time before the S wave comes in the building.
Okay. Mr. Chandan Ghosh, in our country, we have about, 60% of our country is prone to earthquakes, but of course not to a high magnitude. But there are some areas which in the Himalayas, for instance, and we know that Uttarakhand is one area which has just received and had one tragedy, even though it was not from an earthquake. But from that point of view, how prepared are we for earthquakes?
our country, yes, we have experienced 8+ magnitude earthquake 4-5 times in the Himalayan region. Last one was in 1950, and even if it happens even right now, that we are not prepared to that extent, because this 8+ magnitude earthquake, which has occurred 1897, 1905, then 1934 in Bihar, Nepal, and then 1950 in Assam. Even if they happen even right now, we can really imagine the kind of devastation that they are going to create, because seismologists has created some scenario, especially in the Uttarakhand or even Himachal area where Kangra earthquake occurred. At that time, in 1905 itself, more than 19,500 people died. But over the years, in the last 105-6 years, the vulnerability, which is the serious concern for us, vulnerability of the establishment in terms of road, in terms of buildings, in terms of many other projects that which are coming up in that area. Vulnerability is an aspect that where we cannot comprehend the kind of damages that would be expected.
Talking about that vulnerability, Mr. Jürgen, how can this early warning system help? I mean, to what extent can it really help?
The problem in earthquake is that the people lost time to, in case an earthquake comes in the building, to make the calculation how big is the intensity now,
Right.
and they wait and then wait and wait and lost. So in case they make rules with the family before, the behaviors, and we have only 8 seconds, yes, you can start direct to a safety place or you run outside, depending where you live, and this is a little time that you can save your life.
Okay, so we move into a safety place. So now this talks about guidelines for buildings, to develop buildings that can give you at least that 8-second warning that we can probably get. Our buildings have to be designed in such a way that we can at least go to these safety places. Are we on that track?
We are way behind in assessing their performance in real sense. So that is the reason that even if a warning system is giving 8 seconds or 10 seconds of time, only locally we can say that we can fix up by some drill or by some exercise that within 8 to 10 seconds, at least once people are given the warning through siren or some kind of indications, at least they will be shown a place where they can at least hide themselves or they can keep themselves safe. And that is why some kind of mock drills and some kind of assessment in the building itself has to be done. First thing is that whether the building itself is structurally safe or not. That is $1 million question, which not a single expert in our country will be able to say these things more.
Mr. Yogan, your instrument has been installed in some countries across the world. How successful have these models been? What are the feedback you've got?
People are very happy about this. We got every time the information system give an alarm.
First of all, where have you installed it? In which countries?
In 25 countries at the moment.
Okay.
Our system give alarm in.
Let's talk about what. Have you put it in Indonesia? That's the country where we see a lot of earthquakes, similar to India in some ways.
Taiwan, US, Chile, Peru.
Some developing countries. Yes,
Europe,
okay.
A lot of, therefore we got the information from the whole world about earthquake. A big earthquake is not so often. Therefore we put our needle, our detector in the earthquake countries, that we got the information, the system is working well. And therefore I'm very proud that we have now a real earthquake warning system.
Okay, but how does your system differentiate between, normal rumblings and a heavy earthquake? And there's some people say that that's not possible. Is it possible, honestly?
Yes, sure. In case the big earthquake has a frequency from 0 to 20 hertz and acceleration. We look to this 2 points and other things also. But in case that detect this, then our system detects higher frequency, then this is other vibration or a small intensity. And also we have, against false alarm, that we can connect 2 detectors, up to 15, 16 detectors in one net.
Okay.
Therefore, we make it very safe against false alarm.
Okay. So, but we talk, this 8-second forewarning that you're giving us is only for 40 kilometers away. What happens to the epicenter? There's no possibility of any warning you can get there.
You're right. The people there don't have any seconds. But we can shut off the gas, for example, or chemical industry wells. That automatically we stop it. No gas come outside. It's very important that we don't have fire after an earthquake.
Okay.
Therefore, we need this system.
So ultimately, the system just gives you a little bit of a warning. But now, if you have to shut down systems in our country within that period of time, we require them to be integrated into various other systems. Are we planning to do something like that?
This is
Japan, I think, has a model where everything stops.
Everything stops there, even gas supply. Even they can apply automatic brake to the bullet trains which are running. So in India, in fact, all our big industries, especially refineries or even oil industries, even in the nuclear power stations, as far as they have their safety devices of their own, that emergency operation they can stop. And so in that cases, even power houses, like in many of the power houses, where water is coming and wheels are running there. So all those system can be coupled with such kind of devices where they can be stopped for further say devastation, secondary devastations. So in that case, such kind of warning system can be coupled with the existing safety system in nuclear power or powerhouses, and then we can ensure that such warning systems are taken with the more positive spirit for further damages or further problems which comes up as a cascading effect due to earthquake.
You're watching a discussion on early warning systems in earthquakes. We're taking a short break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Mr. Jogan, one of the concerns is that this is a standalone machine. So how do you inform the entire city that there's going to be an earthquake? It has to be networked?
No, that's not a network. It's we work by bus cable.
Okay.
Yes, and we don't save data.
It doesn't save data, no.
We don't save data. We make the analyze, and then we say alarm. The people are not interested in data. The scientists are very interested in data, but the people are interested in warning.
Right. So it gives off a siren which will help these people to save themselves. But the point is that, each machine will do that. But, we'll have to have, hundreds of machines across the city then to get that warning across.
You can install, yes, you can install in every building, for example, two devices connected with the building management system, if they have. And from the building management system, you can control the complete building.
Right.
It's very helpful for every building. Also, you can create network that you can make public warning outside.
Okay. Now, for instance, in a building, let's take a hotel, for instance, where it has hundreds of rooms. How will if you have two of your systems there, how would each person in the hotel know that there is likely to be an earthquake?
Yes, this is very important. The system doesn't work alone. We must train the people, the staff in the hotel, for example, in kind of alarm, what you can do. We create safety places. Then we give, for example, hotel have loudspeakers. We don't give a signal by siren. We send the signal to the BMS, and about the announcement, the guest will inform there is an earthquake. Please open for example, please open the hotel door and go outside to a safety place.
Okay.
They can run to the elevator, and in this corner there are a lot of pillars, and they are safe.
How much research is being done, Mr. Ghosh, about these kind of systems and developing guidelines, projects, buildings for the future, which incorporate everything for a building to have a safety certificate?
In India, especially if I talk about Delhi, here building bylaws and use of the building bylaws and use of the proper codal provisions, which is not mandatory but recommendatory. So in these cases, even having a earthquake safe or earthquake resistant construction is a bigger challenge than setting such kind of alarm system in some of the selected buildings. There are many places which may be subjected, many such important strategic building like Parliament House, or you can say some of the places like Qutub Minar, or there are many other establishments which they are of special importance and strategic safety precautions can be taken. But the challenge is that whether Parliament House is seismically resistant or seismically say strong enough or not, how to check that? That kind of assessment has to be done as the first place, because such kind of instruments will be placed in those buildings which we know about their health conditions, especially how they are likely to behave.
How can that sort of an assessment be done? Can it be done? How can it be done? What's the scientific way to go about it?
So that kind of assessment is being done. Even NIDM also did number of such exercise, about 10,000 buildings in East Delhi. Only thing is that whatever building that we have surveyed, it is only visually we have checked. In some of the buildings we have checked with some of the like ultrasonic sound, ultrasonic pulse velocity meter. Somewhere we have checked with that how reinforcement are placed inside, reinforcement scanner. So it is a really very, very difficult exercise, but scientifically, yes, there are tools and instruments which can be used systematically to check the health condition of the building, and then we can reanalyze that in the software and to check that yes, they are resistant or not.
We must put also the system in the hospitals, fire departments. These people save their life and can help the other people.
Right. Now, well, this is early days for your sort of technology, so we can see that there are likely to be improvements over time, but this is still in the warning category. I mean, are we going to be able to predict earthquakes in the future? I mean, you as a scientist and inventor, do you think that's possible?
I think if we can say next month
Yes.
comes an earthquake, this is important, that the people can prepare of this.
Absolutely.
You don't can say, I think so next day, tomorrow. Or
Yeah, you're giving us only a few seconds.
But
Yeah.
you need the magnitude, you need the place, the intensity on the place, the time. But in case you say next month comes an earthquake, big intensity daily, then the people can check the system. They need the system then.
Right.
They can check the system and make a duel with the family or with the staff, and then.
But is it scientifically possible? Is it scientifically possible? Not that you know of.
Not I think no.
I think
What do
I
you
would
think?
say in another
Yes.
way, we have almost entire world has identified which are the seismic sensitive zone.
Absolutely.
As you have said, you have rightly mentioned, about 60% area are earthquake prone areas, seismic zone 3, 4, 5. So, and also we know that what are the past history of occurrence of earthquake in that region. So it is, but when it is going to happen is not the main question now for the people who are making buildings or who develops the building or who constructs the building.
We need to take another short break. You're watching a discussion on early warning systems for earthquakes. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Mr. Jorgen, since you come from Germany, not an earthquake-prone area, how did you come up with this kind of a technology there? And how did you test it?
Yes. You are right, Germany is not an earthquake country like India. But we have good scientists also in Germany. GFZ Potsdam is the famous in Germany. And they have developed, for example, the tsunami early warning system in Southeast Asia. And with this gentleman, Professor Schau, in person, we have developed this system. We have made a test of shaking table with small intensities, big intensities.